On tonight's Gwinnett Prep Rally, it's Separation Friday for many of the big boys. Has North versus Norcross ever been a letdown? No, and it wasn't in 2011 either. Dacula's back up this year, but it takes a giant to beat Grayson. Could the Birds do it? Over at Archer, the Tigers are getting a pretty good Shiloh team. Can the newbie hold off one of the old guard? Only on GPR do you get the stats and down low on all the county teams, so lock it down for your county TV source, Gwinnett Prep Rally, right now.
For more than 15 years, your source for Gwinnett County sports is Gwinnett Prep Rally.
Hello again and welcome to your county's original high school sports television program. This is Gwinnett Prep Rally now in its 19th season, and we can be seen right here on GCPS TV for the entire 2011-2012 school year. Ty Klein alongside Will Hammock of the Gwinnett Daily Post. And Will, the Region 7 and 8 playoff picture is starting to get a little clearer as the regular season winds down. So who are your favorites heading down the stretch?
I think in Region 8 it got a lot clearer. Grayson had a great performance against Dacula, really separated themselves from the rest of the region. So you got to be happy with what Grayson did. And over in Region 7, I think North Gwinnett's win over Norcross clearly made North Gwinnett the favorite. Obviously they still have Peachtree Ridge and Unbeaten to deal with, but I think North Gwinnett's got to be the favorite on that side.
Well, let's get right to the football highlights and a battle of high-flying offenses looking to get a leg up in the Region 7 title race as North Gwinnett went on the road to take on Norcross, and GPR's Nathan Shutter was there.
Norcross playing host to North Gwinnett in a pivotal Region 7 matchup. On the Blue Devils' second possession, Joseph Wilbur swings the pass out to Anthony Autry. He gets away from the defender and breaks free down the sideline. JT Tolbert will help guide the way. 81 yards on the touchdown. The PAT was blocked. Norcross up 6-0. Second quarter, Blue Devils up 9-0. Miles Autry will field the punt around midfield. He bounces outside and heads down the sidelines with blockers leading the way. He'll go untouched all the way to the end zone to give Norcross a 16-0 lead at the break. Second half, North looking for some offense, but the ball is going to be put on the carpet. Martavius Edwards is there to scoop it up for Norcross, and he takes off the other way. 52 yards to the house for the touchdown. Blue Devils in control up 22-0. North would start to get a little momentum. Joe Jones taking the handoff and powers his way inside the 5-yard line. And the Bulldogs would punch it in from there. Scott Hosch calling his own number on the QB sneak to cut the lead to 22-7. Fourth quarter, Dogs down 22-14. Hosch back to pass, and he finds Chad Scott cutting across the field for a big gain to move the chains. Just over 2 minutes to play, North knocking on the door, and Joe Jones answers with a short touchdown run to make the score 22-20. Bulldogs need the 2-point conversion to tie the game. Hosch fires a pass. It's deflected into the air and caught by Russell King in the back of the end zone to tie the game at 22. Norcross now trying to drive for the win with under 2 minutes to play, but Joseph Wilbur is going to get picked off by Donnie Miles deep in Blue Devil territory. Then a strange thing occurred. The lights went out in the stadium with just over a minute to play. The game would resume after a 20-minute delay, and North would complete the comeback. Joe Jones plunges into the end zone for the game winner as North Gwinnett shocks Norcross 29-22.
Well, Will, this one looked like it was in the books for Norcross. They had that big lead, but here comes North Gwinnett with just an amazing comeback.
Yeah, that was crazy, the word around the county. People were just kind of expected Norcross had that one in the bag. Like you said, they saw the lopsided score and weren't expecting that sort of comeback. But give credit to North Gwinnett, they really believed, and it never gave up on it. Kept fighting. They gave maybe some silly touchdowns there, the defensive touchdown, the special teams touchdown, but they didn't panic. They came back, stuck to their guns, and really got it done.
And like you said, a big win for North Gwinnett in this game. Will, what impressed you most about the Bulldogs?
I think it's got to be the defense. The North Gwinnett defense really played well. Like I said, the points they gave up were a special teams touchdown, a defensive touchdown. Outside of that, they really held Norcross's offense in check, and this is an offense with probably more skill position stars than any program in the county. North Gwinnett has a very fast defense. Maybe not a lot of stars this year, but they're really fast and they can get the job done, and it's really going to help them in the playoffs, and I think it's going to help them win the region title.
Well, back to the highlights, and the Grayson Rams were the preseason favorite to win Region 8, but the visiting Dacula Falcons could really shake things up with an upset win. GPR's Brian Wise has more.
We picked this one up early first quarter with the Rams driving. The give is to Robert Kimdiche, who cuts to the outside and dives into the end zone for the score. Rams up early 7-0. On the ensuing possession by the Falcons, Brandon Goodson drops back to pass, throws back for the screen, which is intercepted by Jake Benda. That would set up this screen pass from Nick Schussler to Devin Gillespie, who finds the end zone for the 27-yard touchdown. Grayson goes on to win this one 34-14.
Big win for Grayson. Will, they came out kind of all cylinders firing and really played well against a Dacula defense that had played pretty well.
Yeah, I thought they were very impressive on all facets. Not just the offense and defense, but special teams. They were great in the first half. Jack Banda, who you saw with that interception, he did a great job punting. He had an average probably 43, 44 yards there in the first half, and really kept Dacula pinned deep in that scoreless battle until they were able to take control. And then once they took control late in the first half, it was really theirs. They could just coast from there.
And like you said in the opening, I think Grayson kind of has a firm control on the #1 seed right now in Region 8. What's harder for me to figure out is how the rest of these teams shake out, including Dacula. After this week, do you have any better idea how this race is going to shape up for those other playoff spots?
There's a lot of football left to be played. I think a lot of those teams could factor anywhere in that 2, 3, 4 range. I think Brookwood, the defending state champion, is still pretty good, but really you can't look past Parkview. They're still undefeated in the region, in a good position, but Parkview still has a lot of the good teams in the region to play, so you never know how that's going to shake out. But you can't forget Dacula either. They're a very talented team, and they showed it. They were playing without Marcus Cox, who got injured in this one. I know that's a big part of their offense, but still a very talented Dacula team, and I think a playoff team.
More highlights now, and Archer is only in their second season of region competition, but the Tigers find themselves in the mix for a playoff spot, and their chances will be even better with a win over visiting Shiloh. Nathan Shutter has the call.
It was all about the ground game for the Archer Tigers. Third quarter, Jarvis Holly with the option pitch to Sean Fowler, who gets around the corner and fights his way downfield. Later in the drive, the handoff goes to Ernest Alexander, who scores one of his 3 touchdowns on the night, put Archer up 28-0 in the third quarter. On the ensuing possession for the Generals, Devontae James drops back to pass and fires one downfield. DeAndre Singleton cuts in front for the interception, and that would set up this, a 3-yard touchdown run by Fowler. Archer wins big, 35-0 over Shiloh.
Well, Will, Archer is obviously a much improved program, playing some good football here, but what surprised me most about this was not that they beat Shiloh, but the way that they beat Shiloh.
Yeah, it was very impressive. We talked all year about how physical Archer is for a young program, and they really showed it there. Just beat up on Shiloh. Have a great team. Andy Dyer's done a great job over there, him and his assistant coaches. They have a team that I think can make the playoffs out of Region 8. It sounds crazy because they're such a young program, but they're maybe a win over Parkview or something like that away from sneaking into the playoffs.
Well, time now to recap more football action from this past Friday night. It's brought to you by Nexstar Communications, and we start off with the Peachtree Ridge Lions. Will, they're quietly having a very nice season.
Yeah, still unbeaten in the region, right where they want to be at this point. They've really done a lot of good things under Mark Fleetwood, a first-year coach. Really exciting one with Collinsville. Collinsville almost had the upset there, but Darian Horn with a touchdown catch, 33-yarder in the waning seconds to kind of pull it out. Great win for the Lions. I think they're looking like definitely a playoff team, maybe even a region title team.
And you talk about a team looking like a playoff team. You're talking about Parkview and Chris Carson. They're playing some great football. They've set it up, like you said, they have kind of a gauntlet ahead of them as far as the schedule, but they've set themselves up in perfect position.
Yeah, Chris Carson's really emerged for me. I mean, that's a guy we really got to talk about. He's really taken that team on his back offensively. It's not a very exciting offense, particularly in the passing game, but he's been great.
And then we go over to Duluth. We already know Mountain View had a big win earlier this year, but it was Duluth getting a nice win here for the Wildcats.
Yeah, that was really a great job by Duluth this week. I mean, Mountain View's kind of a playoff contender there. Duluth really wants to get in the playoffs and still has that shot alive. They're playing without that guy right there, Anthony Stewart, who means so much to him, but a great job by Will DiLorenzo, the backup.
And then we go over to South Gwinnett, not maybe the season the Comets were looking for, but I tell you, if you're looking for offense and a lot of points, this team is the one to look at.
Yeah, they're definitely a dangerous offensive team. Josh Boyd is kind of his first extensive varsity action. He rushed for 177 yards, a couple of touchdowns. He was our player of the week this week for the Daily Post. A good win for South. They really got some work to do if they want to get back in the playoffs, but definitely played great.
And Will, we talked about those teams, some good teams all looking for some playoff spots. My question to you is this Parkview team, we've talked about all the time, is that they have their big games ahead of them. Do you think that they're ready to maybe take down a Brookwood or even maybe take down a Grayson?
I think they have a chance to take down a Brookwood, maybe not a Grayson, but they play such great defense and they run the ball so well with Chris Carson. I think that kind of makes them a dangerous team, and they could be anywhere from the number 1 or 2 spot in the region to down to a team that doesn't make the playoffs if they lose the wrong games down the stretch, because they do have a lot of their tough games left. But definitely a lot of potential for this Parkview team, and I wouldn't put it past them for Coach Flo to get them back in the playoffs.
All right, when we come back, we'll have more football highlights as Wesleyan look to continue their hot streak on the road at Kings Ridge. Plus, we get into the mind of Will Hammock, and we unveil this week's building blocks. You are watching Gwinnett Prep Rally on GCPS TV. For 19 years, the county's high school sports television program.
For 2 decades, Calder Sports has been making dreams possible for thousands of Gwinnett County student-athletes.
Sometimes we've been over the top.
Steve Coulter sings,
And the leader of the clan will take no prisoners on this day.
Sometimes we've been straight to the point.
Beverly Coulter is the most persuasive sporting goods salesman in Gwinnett County history, and that's including her son, Steve.
But most of all, we've cared deeply about every Gwinnett parent and student who walked through this front door.
Over all these years,
We thank you for your support.